Well, I suppose it is true that there are no men stronger than me here. But I want... nothing ever seems to go my way.
You still have some way to go.
Huh?
You have some growing up to do yet.
What?
Well, I'm sure you'll be a fine woman someday.
You!
Now, go take care of the enemy's front line.
It's time to hack and slash in Samurai Warriors 3. This is one of those series that I really like a lot, but gets a lot of flack and is generally not adored as a very popular series in the press. People often get the misconception that it's simply about going around cutting down dudes, but really, what game isn't repetitive? I mean, if you ask me, games like FIFA are really just about running around kicking a ball, and Call of Duty is really just about shooting dudes. I mean, those games are really fun, but they do sound bland if you really just boil them down to the core mechanics.
Is it wrong that I'm the only one who survived to this point? I wish they could see me now, all brave and stoic.
I don't think it's unfair to call the Warriors series formatting with Asians though, because with each release of a new title there are rarely any big departures from the main gameplay, but often a new roster and a bunch of minor new features. In the case of Samurai Warriors 3, there are 7 new characters added to the roster, and all the existing characters have been redesigned. Not in the flamboyant Dynasty Warriors 6 way, fortunately, but they really enhanced most of the characters' existing outfits by making them even more detailed. Some of the new characters are the knightly Munishige Tachibana, the grim-looking Kanbei Kuroda, and the Volporus Kai, and they all managed to feel extremely interesting to play while not completely overshadowing the existing characters.
Divide into 2 units and prevent the enemy from gaining any traction.
Your force must lay siege to the enemy camp. That will keep them on the back foot.
As for gameplay mechanics, you get your classic mix of normal attacks, power attacks and Musou attacks that, in my opinion, are a little more fun to play with than the Renbu system that Koei introduced in Dynasty Warriors 6. A new feature that's being introduced in place of that is the Spirit Gauge. Next to your character's health and Musou bar, you get a set of gems that gradually light up as you damage enemies. These can be utilized in 2 different ways. If you fill them up all the way, you can perform an ultimate Musou attacks, which is more powerful than the regular and true Musou attacks that you can do when your health is in the red. Alternately, you can spend 1 gem by tapping the jump button in the middle of a string of normal attacks to perform something called a Spirit Charge. This can be used to break the enemy's guard and cancel into a new combo string, which theoretically you can keep going forever if you keep damaging your enemies enough to charge up a new Spirit Gem. For the first time, they've also given you the option to play with the original Japanese dub. Here's a look at some of it. It's quite interesting to play with the original audio, but the game can get quite busy at times when you have to pay attention to fighting guys and reading dialogue at the same time. So I usually just play with the English audio.
ついたはいいけど敵の詰め所が多すぎるよ。よし、みんなのために詰め所を下ろしちゃうよ。とっておきだよ。どうだった？皆の日常、私が守る。絶対。
Of course, you can still go around the battlefield completing objectives and stuff to earn experience, but now you can also complete bonus objectives that help you in the battle by doing stuff like bringing in reinforcements, lowering the enemy's movement speed, or healing some of your allied generals. They streamlined the interface a bit, so these bonus objectives clearly show up on your map and put a big arrow on the specific generals you need to defeat, as well as making them blink on the minimap. for your main objective, they've also offered you a kind of GPS system for the minimap with green arrows that easily tell you where to go. With a bunch of context-sensitive tutorials that show up when you need them, Samurai Warriors 3 really is a great place to start for anyone who is interested in getting into the franchise. It's also the first true Warriors game for the Nintendo Wii, and it's also exclusive for that platform at the time of this review. Koei has a pretty good track record of porting their games to other platforms, and even though it might not be a direct port, the few screenshots released for Samurai Warriors 3DS for the new handheld Nintendo console looks pretty identical to this game. Apart from the usual story mode and free mode, there's a brand new historical mode where you can take a custom created character into some of the historic battles that took place in the Sengoku period, or you can go on an adventure in the brand new Murasame Castle mode. Based off an old Famicom game called Riddle of Murasame Castle, it's a sort of an adventure mode where you can take your custom character out to complete quests and fight off the armies of demons alongside a samurai called Takamaru. In this mode you can also play online cooperatively with other players across the world, which is a nice feature, but something that unfortunately is not available in the regular story mode, where you can only play the traditional split-screen multiplayer. In many ways, Samurai Warriors 3 is more of the same, but in my opinion it's an evolution that is more in the correct direction compared to Dynasty Warriors 6. So if you're a fan of the early Dynasty Warriors games, Warriors Orochi, or in fact the other Samurai Warriors games in the series, Samurai Warriors 3 is well worth picking up. Just make sure you get a classic controller pro as well.